Hey kids, hope you're all doing well. I'm just going through your empathy projects right now. If you're in my class, they're really well done. I can see that you were able to empathize with the topic that you chose, which was of course the whole point of this whole project. But this video is about the next topic in math. So last week we talked about how to find the surface area and volume of a cylinder. This week we're going to look at how to find a given value of a cylinder if you are provided the surface area or the volume of it, like how to find the radius of a cylinder if you're given the total surface area, or how to find the height of a cylinder if you're given the total volume of it. The way to do that is, of course, to use our old friend algebra. I think that once we get started here, you'll find that you kind of already know how to do this because we've done some algebra back in December, I think it was. So let's get back into lesson mode. No, just kidding, I'm not doing it again. Okay, so just as a quick review of the formulas we were given last week, don't worry, you don't have to memorize these or anything. You'll always have these attached to your homework. Volume of a cylinder is pi times radius squared times height. So you would find the radius first, square it, and then times it by pi, and then times it by height to get the total volume of a cylinder. For surface area, we're going to use 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. You'll remember the first part of this formula, 2 pi r squared, is for the two circles, the top and bottom of a cylinder. That's why there's a 2 there. You'll remember that pi r squared is just for the area of one circle, but we need 2 for the total surface area of a cylinder, so we use 2 pi r squared for the first part. And then this part of the formula is 2 pi rh for the middle body of the cylinder. So looking at our first question, it says the body of a cylinder has an area of 251.33 centimeters squared. It is 10 centimeters tall. What is the radius of the cylinder? So first thing you should ask yourself is, which of all these formulas here should I even use? It says that the body of a cylinder, so let's do a little diagram here. It says that the body of the cylinder is 251.33 centimeters squared. And it tells us that it's 10 centimeters tall. We want to find the radius. So which of these formulas do you think I should use? Do I have to use all of them? No, I don't have to use all of them. It tells us that the body has a surface area of 251.33. So I'll use the body piece of the formula, which is just this one. So I'll go ahead and write that formula out. 2 pi r h equals 251.33. So you'll remember that the question is asking us for the radius. We want to find, hopefully this works, we want to find the radius of this cylinder. We already know the height. We already know what 2 is. It's obviously 2, and pi is always the same anyways. So in order to find r, we have to do a little bit of algebra here. We're going to slowly pick away at these pieces until we're left with just r. So you can start by plugging in your values. The next line of this becomes 2 times pi. We still don't know r, so I'll leave it as r. We do know that h is 10, and this whole thing equals 251.33. How do I get rid of the very first 2 on this side? I'm going to divide this part by 2. So now this is gone and this is gone. What do I do once I've done that to one side? You'll remember we have to do the exact same thing to the other side. So I'll divide this side by 2 as well. 251.33 divided by 2 is 125.67. So now this side is 125.67. What's left on this side over here? Everything except for the 2. So we still have our pi, we still have our unknown r, and we still have our 10. So what should we pick away next? How about this pi? Let's get rid of the pi. I'll divide this side by pi, which means I divide this side by pi. So moving over to this board now. Pi's are now canceled out. And 125.67 divided by pi is 40.0000. So we'll just go with 40. So we're left with our unknown r plus our height, which is 10, equals 40 centimeters squared. The last step here, you probably guessed it by now, we're going to divide this side by 10. We'll divide this side by 10. So we're left with only r on this side and 4 on this side. What does this mean? It means that our initial cylinder up here has a radius of 4 centimeters. How can I check to see if I did my work right? I'm going to substitute all of this back into my equation over here. So hopefully 2 times pi times 4 for our radius times 10 for our height equals this number up here. Let's see, what do you guys think? 2 times pi times 4 times 10, 251.33. Hey, we did it. Let's try one more. Okay, so looking at the second question here, as you saw, it says that if a cylinder has a total volume of 169.65 centimeters cubed and a radius of 3 centimeters, how tall is the cylinder? So we got another cylinder over here, not quite as big as the last one. The radius was 3, and the total volume of it, the space inside, was 169.65 centimeters cubed, because we're dealing with volume here. So just like last time, figure out which formula you want to go with. It's a volume question, so we'll use the volume formula. Write it out first so you can keep track of your work. Pi times radius squared times height equals 169.65. So just like before in the previous question, you want to start by putting in whatever values you already know. We know that the radius of the cylinder is 3 centimeters. So our new equation, updated equation I should say, looks like this. Pi times 3 squared times h equals 169.65. And we're looking to find the height. How tall is this cylinder? So we've got to first simplify this 3 squared into 9. Just a really quick step. So it goes, we know that 3 squared is 9, so pi times 9 times h equals 169.65. Now we can start the algebra process by slowly picking stuff out of this side. We'll start by removing this pi. So pi 9h, we'll divide by pi to get rid of it, which means we have to divide this side by pi. 169.65 divided by pi is 54. So on this side, we're only left with 9 times h. 9h equals 54 centimeters squared now. So we still want to find our height here. We'll divide this side by 9 to get rid of it, which means we divide this side by 9. 54 centimeters divided by 9 is 6. So we know that h equals 6 centimeters. You can substitute this back into your equation to check your work. So let's see. Pi times r squared, which is 3 squared, which is 9, times h for height, which we believe is 6, equals 169.65. So we know we did that one right as well. We're going to try one more and then that'll be it for today. All right, so as you just read, the last one there says the bottom of a cylinder has an area of 530.93 centimeters squared. What is the radius of this bottom? So we got another cylinder here. Just the bottom part here has an area of 530.93 centimeters squared. So which of these formulas do you think I'll use for this one? We're not concerned about the body. We're not given volume, so we won't worry about that. This part here tells us that 2 circles is equal to pi r squared times 2. We only want to know about one of these circles. You also know that the area of a circle, that formula is pi r squared. So that's just what we're going to use. We're going to use pi r squared for this one. Pi r squared equals 530.93 centimeters squared. What can I take away first from this one? Obviously, it's going to be the pi. That's the only thing we know in this question. So I'll divide this side by pi, which means we divide this side by pi. 530.93 divided by pi equals 169.000. So the pi's are gone. R squared is what we're left with, equals 169.00 centimeters squared. Does that mean that this radius is 169? Not quite. That's what r squared is. Remember, we want just r. So how am I going to get rid of this little 2 here? The only way to do that is to square root this side. That is what cancels out this little 2. If I've square rooted the left side, what will I do to the right side? I will also square root that side. Square root of 169 is 13. So the radius of that bottom is 13 centimeters. Of course, we can check our work again. Pi r squared is the area of this bottom circle. So hopefully we get that answer here. Radius was 13, so 13 squared times pi equals 530.93, which matches what we have down here. So we know we did this one right. Please refer to the note sheet I provided. Of course, ask me if this went maybe too fast, or you have some questions about this, or you're not getting the answers that I posted tomorrow, because we're moving on to something you have to hand in tomorrow. So hopefully this went well for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.